Hello everyone. So welcome back to channel. This is fourth lecture of LLD, and you have to see the first thing is that core concept used in LLD. So you have to solve the question. So you have to expert in the oops concept. So I know the many of the user contradict with this thing that many of the user are the C++ user, another was a Java user. Okay, so basically I prepare all this thing in a Java, but I try to solve all this thing into the C++. So don't worry, at a side by side I want to show the code of the C++ thing. So rather than programming language, you have to focus on what thing you have to you have the knowledge, you can switch anytime any language. Okay, so depend on the rather than focusing on the language specific, be focus on the like what are the things that are okay. So first of all, the thing is that object oriented fundamentals still matter in the LLD. Okay, so if you say that oops concept or matter knowledge, this is a basic fundamental skill that is helping into cracking all this LLD things. Okay, so if you know the oops concept, then it is all good, but only when they are used as a tool for modeling rather than vocabulary words. Okay, use as oops as a tool to modeling all this thing. So in this lecture, so I will review the oops concept that appear repeatedly in the in this LLD. So I don't study all these things that are useful in the LLD. Okay, most widely used in the LLD. Okay, and connect the encapsulation and abstraction for the maintaining the design. So encapsulation plus abstraction to for the maintainable design. So for that one we use. Okay, and see where the inheritance look like we are eager to see where all these concepts are used. Okay, okay, and also see where the inheritance help and okay, where the inheritance help and inheritance help. Okay, so we can say that this way. Okay, so like object, so I say that object oriented is a fundamental still matter in the LLD, but only when they are used as a tool for modeling rather than a vocabulary. So in this lecture, so we will review the oops concept rather that appear repeatedly in the LLD. Okay, and connect encapsulation abstraction in maintainable design. Okay, when see where this inheritance help and where it become a trap. Okay, sometimes inheritance become a trap for the many users, and sometimes it become a useful. So LLD is built on the oops thinking, even if the real world is more complex than everything is an object. Okay, so this thing we have to keep in our mind. Okay, the first thing is that is class and object. Okay, so we're talking about the class and object. So what is this? Okay, okay, so we can say class as a blueprint. Okay, okay, so class is a blueprint. Okay, so this is the thing. So class is a blueprint and object is the concrete instance of that blueprint. So if we have this box. Okay, so and through using this die you can make many boxes. So this is all over, this is class. Okay, and this is we call as a object. Okay, by using this instance you can make many of more. So in Java, how we write a code for this one. So let's see how we write code. So I use manual typing for the Java. So and I also saw the code in C++. So first of all, like we have to make a class, like we have to make a customer class. Okay, so for that one you have to write class, so customer. Okay, and in which you have to define some variables and methods. So I have to define some, like this is like private and this final keyword. So you have to strong with all the string concepts, you like oops concept, you know. So this id is my id is like id is in string format, and my name is also private. Okay, this is also a string format, so name. Okay, after that I have to put some like put some methods inside them. So for that one I have to write public. And this is like this is a constructor. So inside the constructor, customer, the string id name is there, and string name is there. Okay, name is there. Okay, and you have to specify this uh, I have to specify this thing, like this is string and all this thing. So like this id is for, in this java we use, instead of arrow I use dot. So this is equal to id. Okay, and this name is equal to this name, this dot name. Okay, this name is equal to name, and we close this one. So this is like constructor, so same as a class name. Okay, after that another another thing, if you want to get the ids, and this is like private to private one. So if you want to get the id, so in that case you have to write this method. This is the public one. In that we get the string, we want string. So in that I use like get id methods. Okay, so in that case you have to return this, return id. And if you want to get the like names, okay, for the name, so same thing happened. So what I don't, public string get, what is name is there, so name. So in that case you get the name, so return like name. Okay, and you have to close this. Okay, and this is okay. So this is the two methods, like three methods we use, and thus lastly close this thing. This is all thing about the, like this is all about written in the java. Okay, so how we initialize the code. Okay, so let's see in the c++, so how it look like. So in c++ it's look like so if I create all this thing in the c++, so how it's look like. I want to create, if I want to create all this thing, so I have to paste. So like you can see here, okay, so you can see here. So for like for writing anything, first of all you have to include hashtag include. So like many of the mistakes like header class. Okay, and then move to the like using namespace std. Okay, and this like that we call class. So we side by side comparison. So we have this class. So in the customer class, so we use like simply a class in this. Okay, so so if you write this thing final like private final, so in that if we want to use in private thing, okay, so instead we have to use at every like every variable. So in that case we simply use private colon, then use, this is the constant. If you use final, in that case you use const. Okay, then string that id, and this like private you initialize at one place. Okay, and this is name. Okay, and another, that is a constructor we are making, and but constructor type is public. Okay, in that case we early initialize this, the part is that is the, let you have to, in this indentation is important. So we want like something, we want like constructor. So constructor is name same as the class name. So in that case, a constructor like customer is there. So the string is there. So like const string, or that is like that's called by reference. So this is like ID, okay, and const string name, okay. And after that you have to indicate this is equal to ID. So in that case, in ID is equal to ID and name bracket is equal to name, and then this thing, okay. So you created a constructor, okay. So rather than underline, I have to highlight this part. No highlight, okay. So this part become constructor, okay. And how we get that ID? So in that you have to see that if you for in Java, so you have to use that string get old and return this. So how we do in the C++? So like first of all, this is like whole inside the public class. So don't no need to write like this public thing, okay. So we are saying that this public class is the main, okay. You can see this this is the main class, okay. This public class is mentioned here, okay. Mentioned all the things are public, okay. Now move to the to get the ID. So in that case, the string is get ID, and we use const and then return the ID. Rest of thing are same as like Java. If you want to like getter function is used. So get name const. So in that case, you get the name and you close this bracket, and this your class is created, okay. So this is your class, okay. And if you want to make the object, okay, so like compare in Java. So Java, let's see the full code for the Java 2, okay, okay. So full code of Java in Java. So let's see. So you can like see in this 2x or 3x, 2x or 2.5x for the better understanding. So like in Java, what is like from the starting. Let me see one second, one thing. Okay, so in Java, you can see the things are look like this thing, okay. So in Java, how this thing look like, where it is Java code. So let's see the Java code. So side by side, we have to see the Java code. So I have to put all the Java code here. Okay. So this is the this is the thing. We have a comparison between C++ and Java. So you can see rest of the thing are same. So in that case, we use final. Okay. This is a Java code, and this is C++ code. Okay. And this is the thing that you use like in this case we have the int main function. So this is the class that we created, okay. And then the object are like are given below. So int main. So like in this like int main. So in customer, what you have to do, I have to give the ID and the name. So in this ID and name, and I want to print that ID. So for ID, this is like private thing. So how we get, like in customer class, go to this get ID methods and then print, okay. If I want to print the name, so go to customer class dot get that name, okay. So inside the name it will be printed. So this is the result, okay. And so when we're talking about this like in Java, so like final keyword, like instead of const you use final string, and then we have to create the constructor that is public. So public constructor string ID and string name. This is ID, this is name, okay. And if you want to get that ID, so you have to write this code public string get ID and return that ID. And if you want to like get the name, so public string get name and then return the name. Okay. And if you want and setter, so like set the name, so like I have to set the name also. So public void set string name. And so inside the any name is provided, so it will be look like it will be represented here. So this dot name is equal to name. Okay. And in the main class, so public class main. Okay. So public class main curly brackets, curly bracket. So this is the main class. So inside public static void main, that is the function string arg. Okay. And this customer is the class name. I create a customer new from this customer class. Okay. So I have that, I have to give the name to this C1 and this C2. Okay. Okay. And I want to print that thing. Okay. So like system dot out print dot ln customer ID is equal to plus. I want to print that like with this thing to use like plus for attaching with this one. I want name, so through get name I want name. Okay. So if I want to like set a name, so if I want to that set the names, how I do, like customer, you can go to customer class and then set that customer name by Rahul, and then I am updating and again we have to print like this thing. Okay. So public main and then public static void. Okay. And this int string are all are important. Okay. This is all about, this is like, this is class and so this is the class and these are the object and the final result. So final result look like this thing. So after like successful execution, the code look like this value. Okay. Customer ID and this thing. Okay. So like customer is a class and the new customer that we are creating C1 here are the object. Okay. This is all about the classes and object, okay. And we move to the next part, that is encapsulation. Okay. Okay. So what is encapsulation? Okay. So like basic of this one, so like we can say that encapsulation mean that internal, like we can say that encapsulation is the internal, like internal state of an object would not be modified, like would like should not be modified carelessly from the outside. Okay. So this is called encapsulation or encapsulation. In another word, you can say that it is like binding the methods and data. Okay. And this internal state of that object should not be modified carelessly from the outside. So let's see how the like code we have to write. Okay. So first thing, the bad practice that we are doing is this one. Okay. So bad practice is this, if we like, if we do this thing. Okay. So if we do this thing like we have the class bank. Okay. Okay. And we don't like public this value, right, our balance. In class bank account we don't do public, so anyone can change the like balance directly. Okay. So for that one we have to use like some access modifier or all this thing. Okay. So another, let's see how the code like look like. So what is the better version of the code? So let's see the better version of this code. Okay. And so we can say this like we have to see in both. So if we use, so let's see some like example that are bad. Okay. So bad, why it's bad? So we can see here. Okay, we can see here. This we have a C++ code here. So in this one, we have like a class bank. Okay, so class that is a bank account, and in this it is like public, is publicly available. Okay, and in this is public available is that our bank balance. Okay, and why this is bad? Because balance is public here. Okay, and anyone can modify it directly. For this one, we are like a hashtag include header function using namespace, all this thing. We created a bank account class that is public, so in that it public. Okay, okay, that double. So int main, and inside the main function we created that object, that is bank account. Okay, so we like this I use as a main account as an object. So this is the object we created. Okay, and in this we have to account that dot balance. So in that we go balance, so it is allowed, so we set this 100, and we also go to and minus this one, so this is also allowed, but it is invalid state. Okay, so if you want to print the bank balance, so you can see that minus 500 is there, because anyone can give give a modification. So any code can do. Okay, so in that case, if you add this much amount, so any of this can like deduct that money. So like this break the encapsulation mean that the object it is mean that object internal data is exposed. Okay, so what is the better approach? Okay, what is the better or the best approach? Okay, so let's see the best approach for this one in the C++. Okay, so I have to like put C++ code side by side a Java code, so the comparison become easy. Okay, this we know that bad code, so we have to like good code. So in Java, this is the code. Okay, so here is the Java code for this one. Okay, so let's side by side comparison between C++ and Java code. Okay, so you have seen that earlier is a bad code because that our bank balance is like public, so you know that. So you first of all in C++ you have to add this header file. Okay, okay, then bank balance is like class. Okay, and if you want to keep that in bank balance, so I have keep that private part, like private thing is that is like our balance, and the public thing that are the methods. Like first of all I created a constructor that is public thing. So in constructor I give an initial balance, so that balance is like is assigned to the initial balance. Okay, and if I deposit any number, okay, so void deposit. Okay, so like double any amount, so like it can be a very big number, so I give double. If amount is greater than this one, so I add this amount. Okay, this one. So this is the void part. Okay, so in similarly and in void what to withdraw that amount, so void withdraw, and if you like put some amount, so if I say if amount is greater than 0 and amount is not less than that, you are like asking that amount, its amount is greater than 0 and amount is less than that balance, then in that case you minus that balance with this amount. Okay, so this is the way you can extract the balance, bank balance. And if you want to like get the balance description, so if you use dot get balance const and return this balance, so it will show you the balance, and this is how the class closed here. Okay, at this equation class is closed here. Okay, I created the object for this one, so like int main bank account, in this account the constructor I put 1000 rupees. Okay, and I want to deposit the 500 rupees, so it will go and like deposit the 500 rupees in my bank account. If I want to withdraw that amount, so it will check and deduct that amount. Okay, if I want to see the get balance. Okay, so like like get balance, so it will, so like 500 minus like 1300. Okay, so it will show the 1300. Okay, so here is the output. Okay, and 1300, the output will be 1300. Or account, like account dot get balance, like account dot balance. Okay, account dot balance the compilation error, because it is private. So if you want to access this balance, you can't. Okay, if you can't, so by using this you can only see the balance. Okay, so you can't like use that balance thing. Okay, earlier we have seen that if we like use account that like account dot balance, so I created account and account dot balance, in that it is public, so that I can use here. Okay, so if you try to access this bank, so it will become invalid. Okay, same in the case. First of all, so we create a object, like a class in the JavaScript. First of all, class, and that's class name. Okay, then the private, you have to keep the bank balance is my private thing. Okay, and the public, inside your the create a constructor, inside you give the balance. Okay, this balance is given inside, and you have to specify this balance is this balance. You have to use the reference key, that is this, inside this one. Okay, so you created a constructor and you have the balance inside this one. So first part is clear. Then you have to make a method. So like if you want to create a public, all these things, so in like C++ you have to assign, if you want to write private any value, so in that, in the like continuation, you can write private. Or if you want to write public, so in that case you have to write all these public things. Don't write like void public, all these things. So in that, first of all, I have to write, so instead you have like a void deposit, so in like simply so public, you have to specify which public, and then void, then deposit, and same logic is there. So you created, then you also, this part is also public, the public void this thing also, you know. And if you want to like get balance, so public double, so like this want to like get the balance. Okay, get balance, and you forward return balance. So okay, so instead of in main at the int main, so in C++ there's a int main, and then bracket, curly bracket is like parenthesis is there, and inside this one, so like public main you have to write, and inside the public static void main string args. Okay, and this you have to assign, like create an object. So this is a bank account is my class, and I want to create an like account object. So new object, and give that value. So I want to give 1000 rupees. Okay, so in that object I want to like deposit this 500 rupees. So 500 rupees is added, so it become 1500. Okay, and I want to withdraw, so I have to minus this one, so it become 1200. Okay, so this will print. So if I account dot get balance, through which we know the actual amount, and if you try to like access this private value, so it unable to access like account dot get balance, so in that case it gave the compilation error. So this is all about what is encapsulation in like C++ and the Java. Okay, okay, so let's move to the next part. That is abstraction. Okay, that is abstraction. Okay, so abstraction, what is abstraction? Okay, this is 4.3 term. Okay, so where we are, so let's see what is abstraction. This is 4 point, this is 4.3 part. Okay, so abstraction mean, as the name suggests, abstraction mean hiding. So abstraction mean that exposing only the customer need. Okay, so exposing the customer need and hiding the unnecessary detail. Okay, like payment services may be exposed, like payment services may expose, like in this case in Java we use interface, payment gateway, and payment result, that is function charge, payment request. So the caller does not like the caller does not need to know the REST versus gRP call, provider services payload, or retries, or signature generation, or a network timeout. So it know the no need to like no unnecessary details. Okay, so thing for that thing, so if I write like code, C++ code, so here how can I write? Okay, so like C++ code, like this thing. Okay, so this is the first part, virtual method. So abstract interface, then and then concrete implementation. Okay, so below you can put this thing. Okay, so now how can we like use this thing? Okay, first of all I have to create the payment services, and you all know this using name class, all this thing. Okay, and this payment request, that is like class. Okay, payment request. Okay, payment request. So in payment request, the public thing is that the amount is like a card number is this public, and in the payment request this is visible. Inside we made a constructor, so this the amount, this is amount. Okay, this is a card number, so I have to specify this amount is equal, this card is this one. So I created the payment class. Okay, so I created a payment class. First thing done. So payment request is done. And then what is the payment result? So I class. Okay, this is public one. Okay, boolean is successful, we have to specify it is like success or not, and then a string that give a message. Okay, so like constructor success is string, so this message is specifying to the success, this message to this one. So this will represent the payment result. Okay, okay, then what is the abstract class that we call as an interface, all this thing. Okay, so this payment gateway, so in that we what we use, I don't know, like in that case like public. Okay, in this we use virtual. Okay, in this we use virtual. Oh, okay, let me use some Java, like Java code too. So like side by side comparison is like important. So Java code for this one. The rest part is here. Okay, so let's compare. Okay, so we have so as we suggested, we created a class for this one. So if I want to like keep the amount or the payment request, so we can keep, so we can use a private for this one. Okay, so like instead I use like public for this one. Okay, so you can keep a private value for this amount and this card number, so I can keep the payment request. And you can also see that in that case I use public here, so for assigning this one. So in JavaScript, Java, sorry, you have to like public and then request all this, and this we use arrow, in that we use dot. Okay, this amount, this card holder, so this first payment request is created. Okay, but if you want like payment request is created, so like this also through we know the amount. Okay, by this we know public string get. So if you want like get the amount or get the card number, so through which we can get. Okay, so we also noted how to use getter setter and the like get function in this. So if you want to like see in C++, simply you know that public, in that light string get amount like const, and you have to return this thing. Okay, so no need to worry about this thing. Okay, how we get or this one. So first class is created, then focus on the second class, that is like payment result. So payment denial like success and all this thing are like private. Okay, so I use this public here. It's like some like the error things that like no, it's not error. That I'm explaining that two things is public and private thing. Okay, okay. So this is thing, and if you want to like know the success is happen or not, so in that case we check. Then so like how we use the abstract class. So in that case you have to use this interface. Okay, so how the implementation happen? So let's see. First of all, I use a virtual keyword, okay, for this like this making this constructor, and this is just charge cons payment is equal to this become 0. I call this function, okay, virtual queue and the payment gateway. So the internal part these thing are okay. Const like class strip payment implement the payment gateway. So if I implemented the payment gateway thing, okay, and override at the rate override, okay, so override this payment this thing, okay, that is charge payment request system dot out the processing request dot get amount, okay, this thing, okay, okay. So in that case we have strip that like that inherit the property of that they inherit the property of payment gateway, okay, in the payment charge become and override this become override and return all this thing, okay. So inside main function we created like payment gateway, like in like payment gateway is a class in which we create gateway is equal to new strip gateway, okay, and payment request we have to add this card number all this thing result we want like gateway and that charge, okay, so that will and then delete the gateway, okay, in public class main. So also like payment gateway is equal to new strip things, okay, and the payment request is equal to all these things are similar. So all things are similar as compared to the C++ code, okay. So this is what we like saying that in this is like abstraction, okay. So and then we have to understand the inheritance part and polymorphism. So we will see in the next chapter, okay. And